1. All right, guys, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to a special edition of Coffee with Tim Black. We call it Fresh Brewed. I have with me a young man who's making quite a few waves, as you see over there in the video here, Mr. Sam Ronan, guys. Give it up for Sam Ronan. What's up, Sam?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Samuel Ronan, present and ready for kicking ass.
You ready to kick some butt, Sam? What's up, man? Are you ready? Are you really
ready?
I'm
ready. Let's do this. I don't want this to be a little, let's duke this out,
Yeah, let's duke it out, man. Look, first thing, real quick, so people know who you are.
All right.
Where are you from? Who are you?
All right. So I'm Samuel Ronan. I'm from Ohio. I live out of Springboro. It's a nice little rural community where we haven't seen a Democrat in quite some time, right? And I'm trying to change all that. My background's in the military. I've been in the reserves for the past 2 years, active duty for 5.5 years before that. And I'm just here trying to do what needs to be done, and I don't want to steal too much more of your thunder, so I'll let you right back to it.
That's good, man. What brought you to politics from Ohio? Why would you want to do this?
Oh, man. So here's the thing. When I ran for state rep, you have to understand, I was an active duty, and I was just like everybody else at home, right? Politics, whatever. Nobody talks about it. Nobody cares until the president comes around, right? And the thing was, when I was active duty, in 2013, they did the government shutdown, right? You had Ted Cruz and John Boehner from Ohio, no less, right? Buckeye screwing over half the country or more, depending on how you want to look at it. And it just clicked, you know what I mean? That was the coming of Jesus moment, if you will. And I knew then that if I really wanted to serve my country, which I've always wanted to do, I've earned my citizenship. I've earned my place in the world here, right? Politics was the way to go. As much as I had no clue about politics, that was the way I had to do. So I put in my paperwork right then and there. But I missed the cutoff by 3 days. So if I had gotten out, I would have missed the primary or whatever by 3 days. So rather than give up the military 2 years early, I instead started learning and educating myself. Well, by the time I got out, things had been getting from bad to worse, right? Trump was starting to run for president in 2015, and Hillary had started making waves, and then Bernie started making waves, and everything else in between, right? Well, I started learning some really hard lessons. One, just because you're the Democratic Party and just because you exist doesn't mean they can really do much for you. Like, I ran as a Democrat in Warren County because they had an open slot, and I was hoping they would give me, some help, as in, hey, you should talk to this guy, or hey, we'll put you in front of these people, and they didn't have that. And it's not through any fault of their own. I mean, they did help in the ways they could, just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? You can't. I think somebody said bringing a spoon to a knife fight. It's more like bringing a knife to a gunfight. All right, I had no tools, and but I still pushed through, right?
Right.
Air Force strong, and I did the thing. I ran for state rep, and I did it. I knocked on the doors. I talked to the people. I actually listened, and I want to point this out early on. I have been talking to people and actually listening and caring about what they've been saying since day one, right? That's the whole point of all this. We're not having a voice anymore. We're not in control of our own government, so we have to fix that first. Multiply that by being a Democrat, multiply that by not having any presence in rural America. You could very well imagine the only thing that kept me alive was that I was a veteran. And in fact, actually, you're the first one that gets to hear this story. While I was knocking on doors in Franklin, Ohio, and literally just knocking on doors, handing out flyers, right? I had no less than 2 people pull a gun on me for coming up to their door. and the best one was the one time the dude came out. I mean, he was skinny. He couldn't have been 120 soaking wet, right? And he had his little 22. And he was like, "What are you doing on my property?" And I walk up to him. I was handing people these flyers as he has his weapon drawn and everything. And I'm like, "My name's Samuel Ronan, and I'm running for state rep. So hopefully you look at this and like what you see."
And don't shoot me, right?
No, I just walked away. I didn't even mention the weapon or anything. But
that's it, man. Sam almost took a bullet for the cause, man, for democracy. I love it, man.
That's right. That's how dedicated I am, Tim. I want you to know that, right? And then, okay, so I guess I got a little carried away. My bad. So anyway, that didn't end up working, right? But during the whole process, I learned a lot of things. First of all, I wasn't the only one suffering. It was thousands of other candidates, right? In the state of Ohio, the state level party, right? They weren't going to help anybody except for the top 6. Now, Tim, you're a smart man, right? Why would you only help the top 6, meaning the 6 people that are going to win anyway? Does that even make sense to you?
I guess you want to put your money where, I don't know, on a sure thing, sort of like Las Vegas betting. You know, you want to hedge your bets and go with the hot hand. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to hedge your bets. That isn't the democratic process. That's not what our party should have been about. It should have been about getting people on the ballot and giving them the chance to win. So when I went to Columbus, and this is also, nope, you're the second one I got to give this story to. Sorry about that. I went to Columbus, right? When all this thing was starting, it was December. I forget which December, but it was the same day I had a reserves weekend. And I went, and this was back when it was only 3 of the candidates, right? And they were on stage. They had their nice posh chairs and on their stage. And there was like maybe 250 people in the audience, but they were maybe 20 feet apart, right? Mm-hmm. Inevitably, the question was asked, what are you going to do to get people to come back to the party? And I was sitting there like, all right, this is where I'm going to see a leader emerge, right? This is where I'm going to see some guy do the thing that I want to see, right? Everybody answers the question. Nobody does what I wanted them to do. If anybody in that room had gotten up off of their chair, walked off of that stage, and handed a microphone to somebody in the audience, that would have been it. I would have supported them 1,000%. I would have donated to them, right? I would have been like, hey, how can I get you to win? But that didn't happen. And so that's when I ultimately entered the race. And, do you know how to get a hold of the DNC, the secretary, to actually get the – all right. So you know exactly – that's what I was dealing with for a month. And that's why you didn't hear about me in Phoenix. You didn't hear about me until Houston. And that's when I started talking. And I don't know if this is a good point to stop so you can start asking questions, but I do want to hit on this one, all right? So I didn't really make my debut until Houston. And then I spoke again in Detroit, and that's kind of when things started kicking off. So for the past week, I've been popular, right? For the first time in my life, people haven't given a damn, right? Well, I wanted to make my debut. I wanted to send a message. So in Baltimore, I did exactly that. I was asked 4 questions, and I gave a closing. And on the first 2 questions, I purposely, didn't do anything with it. But on the last 2 questions, I made it absolutely known what I was there for and what I was all about. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem is, somebody wanted to take something out of context that I said. Jammu Green was talking about telling truth to power and how we're fighting the good fight and we're telling the establishment what it is. And so I piggybacked on my answer. I said, you're right, Jammu, but I'm not just talking about truth to power. I'm living it. I'm getting up in the DNC's face, right? I am empowering millions of Americans right now to stand up and talk truth to power because you know what? These powerful people, these rich elitists, these establishment Democrats and all these other politicians in Washington who are bought and sold and traded like a commodity, they're weak. They need to be removed, and we need to tell them that to their face.
I love it. I love it, man.
So I just wanted to hit on that. Wow. I did want to give a quick shout out. I understand that truth to power has its origins, and if it looked like I tried to claim it, that's not what I was saying. I was saying that I'm living it. And I think from back then to now, everybody in between that's been living that particular life, that's been, speaking truth to power, I think they'd agree with me. And I think that's important. We can't diminish the message. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because this right here, you and your show, the Jimmy Dore Show, the Young Turks, all these progressive movements, that's truth to power. That's something we can all get behind. You know what I mean? And that's what we haven't had for so long. And I think I'm rambling at this point.
Yeah, I feel you, though. Good stuff, though, all the way around, man. It gives people a little background into what brought you into this and what your road has been so far. But I want to just make sure people understand, because I got some viewers who, who are not so tuned into politics. Sam is running for the DNC chair. Right?
Oh, sorry, I didn't even say that.
He wants to lead, right? He wants to be the force behind what moves the DNC, the Democratic National Coalition Party, about the platform, help him put the platform together. And he's a fresh new voice on this, obviously. Sam, you actually told these people that they were weak to their face?
Sir, I said that they were weak to their face 3 separate times. Now, with increasing vehemence, and in Baltimore, I believe I got to say that if if you guys don't start listening to the people, you're going to lose. You're going to lose this party, and you can't just continue playing this game as if nothing is wrong. Now, granted, the moderator, oh my, she's good. I mean, that 2-minute mark happened, you were done. So I didn't really get to give my speeches. Sometimes you could push it, you're 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Nah, 2 minutes. Sorry, getting a little.
And then the Bernie Sanders moment, all of a sudden you get the mic cut off thing.
Like, yeah.
Like Bernie on CNN. So look, the obvious question, man, is this. Like, do you feel in your heart of hearts, man, that there's something to the Democratic Party? People ask me, they're like, is this viable? I tend to believe that Cornell West had it right when he said, we kind of need to start a new party. Why the DNC? Why the Democrats? Why do you think this is salvageable?
All right. See, thank you for not pulling that punch. I like it. So here's the thing. The DNC, as it exists, is absolutely not salvageable. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Dem exit is real. Trust me, I was duking it out this morning with some of the more prominent Dem Exit members on my Facebook earlier, and they wanted to make it clear that unless the DNC was, going to get their act together, they're toast. And that these organizations, they're growing. And I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Third party, independent, progressive movements, they are growing, but they are growing, which means they're not at the same level as the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And here's the issue that I think is sometimes lost in the argument because you get the motions involved and you kind of don't see the words, right? So here, let me just try and be succinct about it. We are in a duopoly. There is the Republicans and there are the Democrats. That's the way it currently exists. If you get rid of one, the other naturally takes over whatever's left. If the Democratic Party falls, as much as people say they deserve it, and I agree, if they fall, the GOP wins. They are unopposed. Trump wins. Sean Spicer wins. Kellyanne Conway wins. All right? These people, Stephen Bannon, I believe is his name. Right. These people win. They win completely without any sort of opposition, and they will fill that void. Now, sure, there are the Justice Dems and the new 535, and there's several other organizations, right? Draft Bernie, Green Party, Libertarian. Nothing is strong enough to hold its own against the overwhelming might of what the GOP would have at that point. They would fill the void. So it's not so much the DNC is salvageable because it's not. It's that we have to use the organization for what it is. An organization, which means there's people in it, which means there's structure and infrastructure, and really it just needs polishing. And by polishing, I mean you rip out, it's like a car, right? If it's broken down, you don't just scrap it and then buy a new car, right? You fix it. And for the most part, it's an oil change, getting a new tire, changing the brakes, right? Well, we got to do a full checkup today, all right?
Yeah, Sam, brother, I think it's a little bit more than that, man. I think it needs like a new engine. It needs a new heart. It needs a new direction. Like we need some new navigation systems put into that sucker, man. Let's rip out the floorboards, man. Let's really get down to it. You know that show the Exhibit used to do where they do the whole car makeover? Right. I don't want it to look the same way it looks today and tomorrow. Right. You feel what I'm saying? I think in order to have an opportunity.
So let me finish. You're getting ahead of me, Tim. We're on the same page, though. I promise you.
Okay.
The thing is, the only thing the Democratic Party has that we need is the infrastructure, the reach, the clout, the credibility of being a party, not credibility in other ways, just the fact that it's an existing party with a national reach, right?
I feel you.
It's a skeleton. So now we can build the body however we want. It's like having, when you're building up a new classic, right? You got your old 67 Mustang, right? Nice. All you really care about is that it can drive, like it has the wheels and has the frame and it's got the chassis. But you've thrown in a brand new, like you said, Corvette Z1 engine. And all of a sudden, you got yourself a little bit of a monster going, right?
Right.
That's what we need to do. We need to gut the DNC from the inside out. These cowards, and I want to be clear when I say cowards, who have been rubber stamping Trump appointees, all except for, DeVos. Great, they did one correct, right? But we had 4 to 14 senators, right? I don't know how many it is because each article says something different. But anyway, there have been senators who have been approving everything Trump has been doing. And they've been calling themselves Democrats. Excuse you? No, you're not a Democrat. You're a sellout.
Worse than
Second,
that. Worse than that, Sam. They've been calling themselves progressive. You know, they've been
right?
calling themselves part of the
Oh, man.
resistance, which really burns me up, right?
It
Because
should.
you know what I'm saying for
Yeah.
reason, for obvious reasons, man. But yeah, please continue, man. So they're saying that they are, are they giving an explanation why they aren't opposing these people that most of the country disagree with?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're giving their explanations, behind closed doors, giving it to CNN. It's like, oh, we have to work with the president. Do you understand that, right? Except that what they're not talking about is probably the $100,000 donations from Big Pharma, from Big Oil, from the military industrial complex. And here's a veteran talking crap about the military industrial complex, because here's the thing. I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, not the businesses and corporations of the United States of America, all right? Y'all need to get on board. Now, here's the other thing. The reason why I say they're weak. Tim, if you handed me $100,000 and said, here's $100,000, now I want you to do whatever it is I tell you to do, I'm going to take your $100,000 and I'm going to say, you can go shove your ideas wherever you want them to go, because I'm going to do what's right. And that's not what's happening. These lobbyists, these corporates, these corporations, right? These oil companies, they're giving $200,000 to these senators to pass legislation that gives them like $1 billion in kickbacks. Your soul, your integrity is worth $200,000. Are you kidding me? That's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
And I would rip them out of the party root and stem. There is no place for cowardice in my Democratic Party, in my United States of America.
I love it, man. He said mine. That's right. He's claiming it. That's right, man. It is for the people, man.
That's right. It's
that's
ours.
the original idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, very important point, man. You just mentioned it, but let's drop it like it's hot, man.
Okay.
You said no corporate money. I saw
That's
that on
right.
your website.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Is that something you're going to stand by, regardless to what happens here?
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I absolutely want to stand by it, but I want the opportunity to have one of these lobbyists, to have one of these corporations come up to me and try and offer me the money. Because here's what I'm going to say. I'm like, all right, I'll take your money. I'll even lie to them and say, yeah, I'll do exactly what you want me to do. I just want to make sure that this is a donation, not a loan, so they can't take it back, right? And then when they give me that money, and it's my money, I'm going to turn right around and do the exact opposite. Wow. Because that is leadership. That's strength. That's what representation is all about. I don't understand how Citizens United has allowed our country to become corrupt. You can't buy anything. You are either weak or you're corruptible. You are either bought and paid for. You don't have a spine to stand for your convictions, or you do. I'm sorry. It is that simple. Every single one of those congressmen, every single one of those senators, governors, you just go down the list of all these elected positions. And if you allow someone to pay you off, then you have no business being in office, period.
Wow. I bet you get invited to a lot of the DNC parties, don't you?
Oh, you better believe it. I'm right there rubbing shoulders in my, actually, you know what? I call it my hoodlum jacket, because it's a really nice jacket. It's very warm, right? But it's got the hood over it, and it looks all wrinkly. And actually, funny story, when I was in Germany, I was waiting for my friends to come back, get out of the store. It was supposed to be like a quick pickup for drinks, right? But it turned into like a 15-minute wait, so I sat down. People were coming up to me, handing me money, thinking I was homeless, all right? So I'm going to these parties, right, dressed like that, and, sweater, jeans, and that jacket. And actually, I'm wearing my lounge pants, so forgive me if you see that.
No problem, man.
All right, so I'm gonna just put on this jacket, and I'm gonna show you real quick what I'm talking about. All right.
Here goes Sam walking into the DNC
right
cocktail
here.
party.
Right here. This is your DNC chairman. You want to know why? Because I'm one of the people. You know what? It is freaking cold outside. Okay, it is 30. It is like 20 degrees outside. This jacket is extremely warm. All right. This sweater, very warm. You know what's not warm? A suit and a freaking smoking jacket, a blazer.
You know what's not warm? The reception that you're going to be getting from the establishment, my brother.
Oh, man. Here, you want to talk about the reception I got?
Please.
I don't know if you've been able to watch the Baltimore videos, and I've been looking for them, and I'm trying to put my team on it so that they can start, cutting some, clips out, or at least highlighting what I was saying. But when I gave my last two answers in my closing statement, they were applause lines. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to win, right? Ah! Those were the speeches I gave. But when I delivered them to that audience, because I wasn't delivering it to the people in the room, obviously, right? I was delivering it to the cameras, the CNN, the C-SPAN, and everybody else who was watching. That was my message to America, that I have your back 1,000%. I don't care if you're progressive. I don't care if you're a conservative. I don't care if you're I don't care if you're nothing. I don't care if you're an independent and you don't even care about voting. I'm fighting for you. And that was the message I delivered. And when I delivered it on those 3 separate occasions, pin drop. And I think that pin drop silence spoke much louder than anything I could have possibly said. And I think that's the point.
Man, I don't know, man. I say, well, let me just bring the crowd back up to speed a little bit.
Yeah.
Sam said at one of these debates, DNC debates, he said that the Democratic Party need to own up to the rigging of the primary, to their part in the primary, the exclusion of Bernie Sanders, all of the ill feelings that a lot of Bernie-crats, a lot of progressives have towards the party. So Sam, could you go into that and unpack it a little bit for people who didn't watch the clip?
Yeah, so basically, I think that was Houston, actually, and that was my debut, so to speak. And essentially, nobody was talking about any real issues. And I forget what the question actually was, and I apologize for that. It's been a long few weeks, but essentially, we weren't talking about the root causes. Why is the party split? Why is the country split? It's because we've been divided, and it's because we've been ignored. And the main problem Bernie-crats, progressives, millennials, all of the above have isn't so much that Bernie lost, it's why he lost and how he lost, right? When there was clearly backdoor deals being made and just somebody liked to use the phrase hanky-panky in the primaries, so I'll just stick with it, right? So since all that was going on, it wasn't a legitimate loss. Would Bernie Sanders have lost anyway? Probably, but that goes into a deeper issue in that the Democratic Party has never been open to outsiders, and I found that out the hard way. So I not only took that they screwed Bernie Sanders over, but they screw anybody over who's not in this tiny itty bitty little circle, and that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? And so I addressed that, and I talked about it. And as I was talking, I mean, I couldn't even finish the sentence. They were applauding so hard, right? And the part of that is, what does it all boil down to? And it boils down to trust and accountability. If you can't trust me, why would you come to my party? Why would you come to my organization if you can't trust me? And if you know I'm not even going to own up to the things I did do wrong. And that's what I was trying to do. I was like, guys, we messed up. I mean, the least we can do is say I'm sorry. Like, yep, we messed up. And you know what? We're sorry. And we're going to not do that again. But it's not enough to just say it. You got to do it. You got to live it. You got to be it. And remember that story I said in Columbus. None of these candidates live it. Because if they did, that's what they would have done. Because that's what I would have done. See, I'm running for DNC chair, not because I think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and that's why I deserve the party. Every single other candidate has a better resume than me. Even Pete Buttigieg, who's a mayor and arguably the lowest ranking in terms of like state, federal, and whatever, he has a better resume than me too. But even he, and I love this kid, I do. I think he's great. I think if anybody has a chance of doing it that isn't me, it would be him. Because he's trustworthy and he's honest and people can believe in him. But the thing is, even he hasn't gone up to people. He hasn't made it about us coming back together again. He's made it about, look at what I've done as mayor and how I've brought people together, and look at my credentials and my plan. It's not like I'm in it for you guys.
Right.
You know? And that's my whole story. I'm in it for you guys. I don't have to have all the answers. I shouldn't have all the answers because I would defeat the purpose of bringing it in all together. If I already have all the answers, why do I give a damn what you think? And that's the way the Democratic Party acts and operates right now. We have all the answers. You listen to us. You get in line or get out. Well, guess what? 14 million people said, and they chucked them up high. And it's just been a struggle for the past 3 or 4 weeks to convey that message. And, you know, I get it. Everybody's still very emotional, but I like using this example. You know, Thanksgiving dinner, right? You got the whole family out there, and they are just at each other's throats. But at the end of the day, when the turkey hits the table, everybody sits down, everybody's huffing and puffing, I don't want to sit next to Sally. Well, you're sitting next to Sally. Well, fine, pass the potatoes, right? And all of a sudden, we're passing food, laughing, and talking about the good times. That's what we need to do. We need to start coming together as this big old dysfunctional family that we are, right? We're America. We're stubborn. We have our ideas. We're opinionated.
Right.
But we're Americans. We care. We want to have the same thing. We want to be able to go to the doctor and not walk away in debt. We want to go to school and not walk away in debt. We want to go to work and be able to pay the bills and have a little bit of something left over. I don't care. You smoke cigars, drink beer, do it. Love it. Just don't get addicted, okay? But, it's people just want to be able to live life and enjoy life. And at the end of the day, they just want to feel like they're being listened to by the people upstairs making that happen. And if that's not the case, it doesn't matter if Jesus Christ himself is the DNC chair, because nobody's going to listen. And that's why my message has been one about leadership, not about managing, not about being the best and the brightest, about actually understanding what is at stake. It's that people need something to believe in again. And I debuted this in Baltimore, and I'm going to hit it home in D.C. on Wednesday. We need to go back to our roots, like when FDR was the president. When FDR was the president, the country believed in something, and we had the New Deal and the birth of the middle class, and everything was out just incredible. That's what we need. We need a New Deal. We need to get back to our roots. We need to understand that we're all in this together, and that's okay if we don't agree with each other, because that generates conversation, and that's what we need. We need to talk to each other. We need to listen to, and we need to love each other. All right. I'm not saying tree-hugging hippie liberal over here. I'm saying like literally respect each other as a fellow human being. It's a culture change. That's what we need. We need to start embracing the humanity within all of us, and that somewhere in between extremist this way and extremist that way, somewhere in the middle is an answer, and we need to find that answer.
Well, when you have an and look, I appreciate everything you just said. I really feel it. And it's a breath of fresh air, man. And you don't sound like one of these guys that's just cookie cutter politician guy trying to just say everything right. You think people want to hear was, that's safe to say. But I gotta add this, man. Donna Brazile still leading the DNC, isn't she?
Yeah, she's still in charge.
Brother. I mean, I know you're a hopeful guy. I know you got a lot of energy. Yeah. But an organization that would keep her in her place. I mean, keep her?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, talk to me, Sam. What's up, man?
All right, Tim. So you're dropping the truth bombs here, okay? So I will say this: Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, she's gone. She's out. Like that's a sever tie, hook, line, sinker. She's gone, right?
Right.
Donna Brazile, I know she was part of the thing too, but I wasn't as familiar with her involvement, right? So I'd have to educate myself. I think, though, between her and Debbie, at least Donna is redeemable, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. Maybe I haven't done the right research, and please correct me if I am wrong. But here's my thing. We can't burn it all to the ground and burn everybody who's been a part of it, right? Because some of these people are just innocent, right? The DNC members are mostly union reps or small-time county folks that got elected into being DNC members, which is cool, right? Mm-hmm. But they have to understand that there's a new world order coming, and that world order is going to be for the people, by the people, of the people. You understand? All right? So they need to get that. And part of their role in that future should be one of mentorship. And I think Donna at least has enough redeeming qualities to where she would be okay with being a mentor and taking that step back. And same thing with the other candidates. The other candidates are great. If this was just a management position, I would just support probably just Pete, Keith, and it's between Keith and Tom, but I'd still support Pete, keep it real with the veterans. But with the old guard and the establishment, they have to have a place in the new world order. They just have to know what that place is, and that they are going to be kept in their place. They've been keeping us under their thumb. It's going to be a reverse order, but we have to do it in such a way that, we're not shooting ourselves in the foot too, because there's a lot of experience there. There's a lot of history in the Democratic Party, and there's a lot of tools and resources there. And we need to tap into that, but we can't just hold them at gunpoint either. We got to show them, like, look, change is going to happen because it's needed to happen, all right?
Right.
You guys screwed up. You got to admit it, and you got to step aside. But we're going to have questions, and you guys probably have the answers, and we want to talk to you. And you know what? You guys have been doing it for a while, so you still have a say in what happens in our party. It's just, it's got to be a say and not the way. You got to come to the table. You can't just have it, like those interviews you see, where the table is like half a mile long and you got the boss on one end and you're over at the other end like, hello. We can't have that anymore. All right. We have to have a conversation, and y'all need to take the role of mentor. Okay. You guys need to guide us, perhaps, answer our questions, but we're going to be the ones in charge. We're going to be the ones on this roller coaster, and we're going to start holding people accountable. So if you're that senator or that congressman or that governor, you best believe you're going to be in my office, and you're going to be listening to what I have to say. And that voice isn't just speaking from Samuel Ronan. That's Tim Black. That's all the listeners. That's Jimmy Dore. That's all the people, the 14 million Dem Exeters speaking when I speak to you as Governor Democrat who hasn't been living up to the Democrat name. That's what we got to do.
I mean, yeah, I hear you. I get what you're saying. When you made the point earlier, and folks, you need to pay attention to this, maybe need to rewind it, where he said it's not just about them dissing Bernie Sanders or doing what they could to force him out or to to sideline him. It's that they don't like outsiders in general. Right. So you could be a Democrat, and just because you're not a part of the cool kids club or whatever, right?
Right.
You get the same treatment.
Yep.
Gosh, man, I don't know, man. I mean, I want to say I agree that you need people around who know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I tell you, Sam, I would support someone like you, regardless of how much experience you have, because it's not like you're going to fly a plane without you know what I'm saying. Like,
right,
there are going to be people there. You'll have staff. You'll get help. What's most important is the vision.
Yes. And see, that's maybe that's what I should have said in so many words. I truly believe every other candidate, Keith Ellison, Tom Perez, I think they have the best intentions. Mm-hmm. And I think what they've been doing is approaching this as a job interview for a management position. And I've been approaching this as a job interview for a leadership position. And I think that is a distinct, difference. And
you sound more like an activist to me, Sam. You ever done any activist work?
Well, I did stand with Standing Rock right before the election, and I have every intention of going back this Saturday. So I'm in works with the veterans group that's been organizing the veterans going out there lately. Mm-hmm. So I'm crossing my fingers it works out. I don't want to make a promise and then not be able to fulfill it, but I mean, we are definitely working very hard to get out there. But yeah, I've done activism, and honestly, people ask me, so man, you've made a breakout to progressivism. So what are you going to do after this if you don't get it? And I'm like, I don't suppose I can just go back to school and go back to normal life. I think that ship has sailed. So, Justice Dems has reached out to me. So I think that's kind of cool. We're kind of, spitballing back and forth where I might fit in it. So Congress is definitely on the table for sure. Elected office in general. I mean, I probably have to move out of Warren County regardless, but, if I have to move to Columbus or, not every state has a residency requirement. So maybe I just go to whatever Democratic stronghold is there and they court me in, as long as I can still pay the bills, I'm okay.
How far are you from Nina Turner, man? I know she's in Ohio.
Yeah. So I reached out to Nina, and I think I got one of her people, but I didn't get Nina Turner herself. Okay. And you know how that goes, man. She's in the middle of running for governor right now, I think. Right. And I think she's just as big. I mean, bruh, campaigning. Woo.
It's a lot, huh?
Yeah, it ain't for the timid, for sure. I mean, if you like sleep and I like sleep, it's not for you. And just get the job so I don't have to campaign anymore, right? But I would love to be in contact with Nina Turner. We've been reaching out to Tulsi. We've been reaching out to Bernie himself, right? Mm-hmm. The man. Honestly, I'd reach out to Obama too. I know he's backing Tom Perez and the establishment, right? But Obama, he ran out of hope and change, and he gave us 8 years of the best he could do, He had Congress against him every step of the way, The man did the job, all right, Love him or hate him, I know some things weren't progressive enough. We got the Affordable Care Act instead of single payer, but hey, if Obama wants to pat my back, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was. You know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone, Sam, because I disagree about a lot of stuff Obama
No, no,
did.
I
But
mean, hey,
you take support where you can get it, and he's
right.
definitely influential. He left at a very high point. Like his approval rating was like through the roof, regardless to what people think about him. So,
Exactly.
you
And
know,
that's why I'm saying, you know what I mean? I'm not saying so I can be a part of the establishment puppetry or whatever,
right.
but it's, I'm looking at all angles, and, I'm trying to reach out to Jank, and I'm trying to reach out to Secular Talk, and hell, I would go on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Oh,
Are you
you know
kidding
what I
me?
did do though? Like
Uh,
over the weekend when I think it was when we talked on Twitter, when we spoke
uh-huh.
through DM, and then John hit me up. Shout out to John Ring.
Right.
Um, I talked to Lee Camp. Because
What?
Lee and I chop it up all the time. I was just on this show a couple weeks ago, and I
Okay.
said, "Hey, I'm going to be interviewing Sam Ronan, running for the
Uh-oh.
DNC chair. So look. He's going to reach out to you because that's sort of how we go, man. We roll like
Okay.
he brings somebody on, I bring him on. We kind of bounce off, and Jimmy as well. We kind of like
Yeah.
uh, make the rounds, brother. Make the rounds. So
That's
when is this thing going to happen? When is the
all
election
right.
or the selection from the protection of the collection go down?
Yeah, so here's the scary thing, right? It's in 12 days. It's on the 25th. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're voting at 3 p.m., all right? Local time. And the issue isn't so much can I win or can I get enough reach to be viable. It's if we're going to really hit this underdog thing home and really make it between a leadership versus a management, and really that I've been driving the narrative ever since I stepped onto the stage, that I've been basically doing the job. It's just a matter of being confirmed. You know what I mean? That is going to be the difference. But the problem is media blackout. The problem is, being not given the opportunity to be heard and seen. And, things like this is awesome. This is an awesome opportunity right now. We just need to multiply them and, take it to the next level. However, it's not about the reach of regular people like you and me, unfortunately, because it's up to the 447 DNC members. So
Right.
let me do a little quick, spiel.
I'll add him.
So we gotta reach these people, but these, like I said, these people are union workers. These guys are mayors and council members and stuff, right? Some of them are retirees. These people are mostly the generation that's already in charge, right? So if we're going to reach them, we got to reach them on their level, and we got to be respectful. And even if we want to just shake them a little bit, we
Right.
got to be respectful about it. And what I've been telling, and some people have been not respectful. So let me, please, if you're going to call them, first of all, it's not a very well-known list, and we're working on getting a list that just has the names on it, so you can Google it and find the numbers and all that. Apparently, I did the bad boy thing and made it public. So, Anyway, when you contact these people, start from the head, right? So, so let's just use Ohio for example, right? If you're going to talk to Ohio, talk to David Pepper. But when you talk to David Pepper, tell him, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm a concerned citizen, and this DNC chair race, this is going to have a really big impact on my country and our future. And out of all the candidates that I've been watching and seeing and listening and reading about, the only one that really struck me as wanting to do the job for the right reasons and to truly embrace what's happened and rebuild the party, that guy's Samuel Ronan. And, here's a couple links. You can do the Jimmy Dore show, just the Young Turks politics, this show, our little conversation. I mean, either which way, so that he can take a look at it, right? And say, look, I get it. You guys are in the middle of an unprecedented moment in history. But if you guys want to live that moment and you want to own that moment, this is the guy for the job. He's ready for it. He's proven he's ready for it. He's not afraid to back down and talk and stand his ground. He has some unpopular ideas. He has some great ideas. He's a human being.
Right.
And that's the point. We can actually relate to him as such. It's not like, oh my goodness, he's this person. I got to wear like my Sunday best just to even shake his hand. He's just a guy.
Right.
And that's what we need right now. And if that's what that message looks like or that phone call, I guarantee you we can win this thing. I'm not in it to lose. I'm not in it just to make a splash and poke the tiger in the eye, because I've done that. I could have just showed up in Houston, said my speech, and gotten done if that's all I want to do. No, I want to win. I want to do this because this is important. Again, when we were talking about is the Democratic Party salvageable? It's not. It isn't salvageable. That's why we need to rebuild it in our image, our collective image. so that we can have a platform to fight back and be heard. And that's the thing. We're not going to get that. And the worst thing is if the Democratic Party falls, remember that whole duopoly thing a second ago. The Republican Party is left unopposed, and they'll just fill that power. Do you want Trump to have even more power? Do you want Steve Bannon to have even more power? Because I don't. I sure as hell don't. But you know what? If I don't get it, and I don't get, some other like elected position or, whatever, you're going to be seeing me at some of these rallies. And if I have to stand in between protesters and cops in uniform so they're not getting maced for exercising their First Amendment right to peacefully assemble, you damn well better believe that's where I'll be.
Man, you finished strong, brother. Wow, Sam. I love it, man. That's going to hit home with a lot of people, man. Look, Sam, tell people where to go to find out more about you and your campaign.
All right, Tim. So I will shamelessly pander and plead, right? You can find me on Twitter at Ronan for DNC, Facebook /Ronan for DNC, and my webpage, I bet, www.ronanfordnc.org. And in there is going to be a whole lot of information. You're going to see my extremely long bio, which, you can skip that. But the rest of it is kind of my policies, kind of who I am. The rest of the website has kind of my little treatise, if you will, on what I think we should be doing for, say, clean energy, education, healthcare, civil rights, veterans, the war in the Middle East and stuff like that. I touch on a few of the different topics that will inevitably come up on a national stage. Anyway, there's also a donation page. But before I even mention that donation page, please, for the love of God, do not donate to me if you got bills to pay, if you got student loans to pay. I don't want your money. I don't want your money, all right? But if you feel like and you're actually able to donate, please do. It's not cheap flying all over the country on a short notice, but still, only donate if you can. But that page is called Donate to the Cause, because it's a good cause. Other than that, I have YouTube, Samuel Ronan. I actually have some good subscriptions now, and I think I got 19 or 20 videos. So it should actually stand out now when you type it in. And let's see, I said Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're setting up a rally for Atlanta, Georgia. Like a rally. I mean, I want it to be hundreds, if not thousands strong. And the bigger, the better, all right? I want you to show up. If you can, that's great. If you're in Atlanta, show up, because I don't think they've gotten the message yet. They still don't think, because everybody's bringing their own cheering section to these things, right? So let's bring a cheering army, all right? Cheering army, Atlanta, Georgia, all right? So yeah. So check all that stuff out. I'm very active in it. I'm very engaged. I've gotten into a few Twitter arguments, right? Debates. Right.
Well, look, in this video, I have your Twitter handle right below your video right now,
Okay.
so everyone can see that. They've been seeing that since the beginning of the video.
Okay, good.
And look, guys, do me a favor. Go check out Sam. Follow him. Join him. I think it's really refreshing, man. And I'll give you this, Sam. You gave me something to think about with the whole duopoly thing, because I envisioned what you said about, well, if one goes away, there's a vacuum left. I started thinking about our interventionist wars, like our regime changes, and what happens, like in Syria.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
Exactly.
really brought that, like that imagery came. It's like, you know what? You got a point there.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I've been having trouble with some of the progressive movement, because they don't want to see it that way. And maybe it's just lost in typing, but I hope you guys watch this, and I hope you see the same thing that Tim and I are now seeing. It's not that I care about the Democratic Party. I don't. It could be whatever. I'll change its damn name. We can call it the Tim Black Party for all I care. All right.
It's a much more sexy title, I tell you that.
It is, and you need to be the spokesperson, because you got that, that deep,
I feel you, man. Hey, thank you, Sam. You definitely get the black vote, that's for sure. The Tim Black vote. I don't know about all blacks, but hey, look, Sam. Look, man. Thank you so much for taking time out. I know you got a lot to do. Thank you for sharing your views with us, man, and like really giving some context around who's this guy who's like poking the tiger in the eye. So that's
right.
Great, brother. Hey, look, guys. Give it up for Sam, and do me a favor. Go follow him. Like I said, this is a progressive we need to find out more about, and I think you guys, I think this is what you've been looking for. But we'll find out. All right, Sam. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good.
All right now. That's it, guys, for Coffee with Tim Black, freshly brewed. That was my man Sam Ronan running for DNC Chair, and it's been great. I'll see you on the next one. Follow me, you know where, Facebook, Twitter. This video will be made available in just a few minutes because this is live, because that's how we do it. Peace.
Bye, Felicia.
All right, Sam.
Outstanding. That was